Perhaps like the first question I think we ask ourselves as guitar players when it comes to amplifiers is, to tube or not to tube, right?
Oh
That is the
man,
question. Or to
don't
do an
ask that on Facebook.
or to have like some sort of IR modeler or something like that you guys
Yeah.
have. So,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on that, John? Does it depend on the guitar? Does it depend on your vibe that day? What do you think?
Yeah, in terms of solid state and tube.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I really believe that there's a need for both, and I think that unless you're playing really niche styles of music and that's all you're playing, or say you're somebody who like really wants to play like Stevie Ray Vaughan all of the time, then you're probably going to try to copy that guy's rig down to his guitars and his strings, and that sounds like more hobbyist type of stuff. I think when you're a working pro, there's definitely a need for both. I mean, examples of solid state, like whenever I do like a TV show or an award show and I need a very quiet amplifier that's going directly into some kind of recording thing, I definitely don't want to use a Fender vintage amp of any kind. I want to have a solid state amp, or maybe not even use an amp. And the advent of the impulse response pedals in the last 10 years has really changed the game for amplifiers. And now it's not only just solid state and tube, it's solid state, tube, and IR modeler for me, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So
And
you have some of those dialed in, right, with your Strymon Iridium?
yeah, yeah. Why don't I play a little bit here? The Strymon Iridium, interestingly enough, I feel like is one of these pedals that really interfaces similar to how I'll dial in an actual guitar amplifier. And I know TC Electronic just came out with a mini IR pedal, which is pretty cool. It's a digital one that's the size of that 7-Up Mini. And that's a cool pedal to put on a mini board. And I tell you, this Strymon saved me on a road gig last summer when I went out to Indiana, and the venue just didn't have an amplifier. They were supposed to have a backline amp for me, and I was so happy with my sound with this. But I kind of have dialed in what I feel like is sort of like a polytone sound with this, kind of very dark with a lot of kind of power in the low end. To me, when I'm playing my box, like for those who are not watching this right now, which by the way, if you want to check out the video, be sure to sign up on Patreon. But I'm using a Fender DeQuisto here, which is like a little 16-inch laminate arch top guitar, like a 175. And I like putting a mic on the guitar when I'm using the IR, because then I get the actual sound of the guitar into the front of the house. And if I'm recording over Zoom or doing lessons, I tell you that the Strymon, for me, I mean, I kind of have to give it my endorsement, man. I mean, they're just so great, and dialing in the treble and bass and middle controls on that pedal feels very much like an amp for me. And that room knob, where you feel like you're moving the amp behind you farther or closer. It took me a minute to get used to it, but now I'm pretty satisfied with it. So that's what I've been using. I don't know, Perry, have you experimented with that yet?
I haven't, no. And I mean, other than using the Sans amp, which we used to use a lot in New West, not nearly as sophisticated of a pedal, but it gives you the option of at least performing live without a pedal, I guess recording too. But when you're playing live with the Strymon, are you just monitoring yourself through whatever speaker that the house has, essentially?
Yeah, either in the front of me or behind me.
Okay.
And it depends on how loud we're playing in the house.
That was always the big X factor when it came to performing live with those things, is you can't really wear headphones when you're performing live. I mean, I guess you could, but not really. So you're kind of at the mercy of the speaker, the house speaker, the monitor.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, and I think that, as PA gear has changed so much, a lot of PA gear now, especially QSC and JBL style products, are really kind of geared to be able to mimic guitar amplifiers, because so many guitarists are playing direct now. And, QSC, the Q in QSC is Quilter, and they're a guitar amp company. So it's for me, I've always been happy with the QSC. But yeah, it's been an interesting experiment with the IR modeler. And for sure, at the end of the day, if I'm playing a concert, I mean, I love having a Fender Deluxe or Vibrolux or Twin. But if I had my choice between that and say something like other than that, which we can get a lot on the road depending on where we are, or something that's underpowered, it doesn't quite have enough clean headroom for what I want to have, I'll definitely take this at the end of the day.